Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sky, and recently I made the very difficult but worthwhile decision to go back to college at the age of 35. So yeah, today I wanted to talk about my experience of going back to college as a mature student, because there's not a lot of information out there about it. I'll start by giving a bit of context about my history with education and the educational system, and just my history in general, just with life, because I think it's important context, and also I really like talking about myself. I went to school in the 90s/2000s, and I was a terrible, terrible student. Undiagnosed ADHD, undiagnosed anxiety disorder, felt like the stupidest person alive most of my life. Went to college, to community college to study photography, dropped out after a year because of severe mental illness, and tried again when I was 22 to go back to college, had to drop out again because of mental illness. And basically my entire 20s and a good portion of my 30s was spent just kind of trying to survive. After the second time I dropped out, I was like, okay, clearly college isn't for me. I couldn't get a job because I was too mentally ill. So I ended up, just being a solopreneur, I guess is what they call it. And I did okay. I did okay for myself financially. In the back of my mind, I was like, I'd kind of like to go back to college, but I was just so terrified of failing again, having to drop out again. I just didn't see it as an option for me. So fast forward to 2024, I have the longest worst year of my life. This year, the amount of things that happened in 1 year was actually just insane. It truly broke me down. And then 2025 was looking to be the same, and then a major life change happened in my life, and God, this is all very cryptic. It's usually a divorce or a death or a breakup. I had 2 out of 3. Early 2025, I was single for the first time, like properly single for the first time in maybe 15 years. And I dedicated myself to being single, not jumping into another relationship a few months later, nothing like that, just fully focusing on myself. And that was the best decision that I have ever made. And I'll make a whole other video about how being single is way better than... Anyway, I'm just saying that because I'm single. And then, when I'm doing something, I make it my whole identity. That was in the spring, early spring, and then I spent the whole spring and most of the summer really, exploring who I am and really, challenging all of these limiting beliefs and paradigms I had. And I decided to go back to college to study vet nursing. Something that I realized through this period of self-discovery was that being self-employed no longer served me. It was no longer good for my mental health. It was no longer good for me at all. So I wanted to study something that was meaningful to me and that I could get a job at the end of it. So I interviewed for the vet nursing course, and they were like, look, we're going to be real with you. You're stupid. No, they didn't say that. I fully thought they were going to say that though. But they were like, yeah, we're not letting in anyone into the course who doesn't have experience in a veterinary clinic, because a lot of people apply to this course and they get in and it's very competitive, and then they do work experience in the vet, and then they're like, oh, I don't want to see animal suffering, but we can put you into another animal science course, and you can get work experience in a vet, and you can the following year apply again. So I was like, okay, cool, that sounds good. So the course that I'm doing is it's an animal science course, canine husbandry specifically. So yeah, that's how I got into college. That's the story of me deciding and picking the course, etc. Now, what my experience of going back to college at 35. Yeah, I was really, really nervous. I remember my first day walking to college, and it was a beautiful September sunny day, and By the time I got to college, I was having a grade 10 panic attack, and I just went into the bathroom and I was like, I'm going home. What am I doing? This is so stupid. And I fully almost went home. And my first class that day was animal grooming. And I was like, because I'm older now, because I've developed a lot of tools, a lot of self-soothing tools, a lot of I can coach myself through these things. I was like, okay, Sky, that's fine. That is an option. Not a great option, but why don't you just go into the class, sit down for 10 minutes? All right. And I did that, and it's 4 months later, and I absolutely adore the course. I love college. It is the best decision I ever made. And I think back and I think, what if I had just gone home that day? Like crazy. Anyway, so yeah, but there was definitely a period of adjustment, for sure. So I'll talk about the challenges first. Let's do that. Let's talk about the challenges. First of all, I walked in there and I did want to cry because everyone was so very young. Back in my day, when so I'm going to a community college. Back in my day, community college was a lot more mixed ages, a lot more mature students. And if you're I was in the minority as an 18-year-old. But apparently now in schools, they're really pushing community college, whereas I say, in my day, if you wanted to do anything other than go to a university, they were like, ooh, yeah, I don't know, you research that yourself. That's disgusting. They really. But now they're really pushing people in that direction. So, which is great. So yeah, there's just a bunch of what looked like teenagers, and a handful of people my age and older. So yeah, the age ranges are from 18 to 24. And then again, there's a few people my age and older. And so that was really difficult. And I thought that, I said to myself, it's okay. I'm not going to college to make friends. I'm going to learn. I'm going to, get a career. I'm going to do something meaningful with my life. But actually I've made friends, and wait, we're talking about the challenges. But that was a challenge. It was that first initial, oh no. Okay, we'll do a challenge and then a positive. The positive is that I get on so well with everyone in my course, and they have accepted me as an honorary Gen Z, which I don't know if that's a good thing. But yeah, I do, because of the way the generations are these days, I do get on better and have more in common, and there is more, culturally we share more, with Gen Z than I do with Gen X or boomers. So yeah, I mean, it keeps me young. It keeps me young. And yeah, and I really like having that built-in social circle. I don't have to think about it. I go into college, I have a laugh, I have a good chat. There's a real kind of bond there, a sense of community. And yeah, so I get all of my social needs met. It's not something I have to go out of my way to do. And it's just I can do it while doing something meaningful, two birds with one stone, and we, go for food or whatever after college. They did spend a long time trying to get me to go out at night with them. And I was like, listen, guys, it's different. I can't really, I know I hang out with you guys in college and a little bit after college, but I can't go out on a night out with a bunch of 18 to 21-year-olds. I just can't. It's very weird. And they were like, no, you're being ageist towards yourself. So finally I was like, okay, all right, I'll give it a go. No, never again. That was awful. It's just, I'm not in that phase of my life. And it was really, really strange. Okay, I should probably talk about the actual academic side of it. Yeah. So the course is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. It's a lot more science heavy, which I actually love. My favorite class is animal anatomy and physiology. I absolutely love it. In my spare time, I am just studying. And yeah, I think the course is perfect for me because it has this really great mix of hands-on and brain stuff, theory. And that just really suits my personality, and it suits my ADHD. So that's the one thing that I was really pleasantly surprised at. Like, my attention span in class is amazing. Like, I'm able to actually listen and pay attention and take notes, something that I was never able to do in class. And I think that's because I have extreme PDA, which is pathological demand avoidance. And so because I'm choosing to do this course, and like the lecturers don't care like whether you do it or not, or do your assignments or study or anything, I'm fully doing it for me. And I'm also really, really interested in the subjects. And I'm also have a passion for learning in general. So even though I have changed my plan with what I'm actually going to do, because turns out I don't like to watch animals suffer. And I didn't even get work experience in a vet. I got work experience in a dog groomers / doggy daycare. And these dogs, they do not like being groomed. It is not a pleasant experience for them. And so I hate even just watching them be in distress, even though even though they're not being hurt, they're just psychologically distressed. I just can't stand it. So yeah, I don't know how I would be able to watch actual animals suffering and probably dying. Couldn't do it. But I have discovered that I love learning. Like, I love it just as a concept, right? Studying. Okay, you sit down, right? 5 p.m. You don't know something. By 5:30 p.m., you know something. And I know that sounds so basic, but I don't know. I'm just so fascinated by how it works, and how, you know, learning happens not when you're receiving information, but when you're retrieving information, and when there's a struggle involved. So it's the only thing where, like, if I'm struggling, it's not the only thing. There's also working out and lots of other things. But I like that when there's a struggle involved, that means it's working. I don't know. I love that. The assignments, though, are a little bit more difficult for me. Just doing them. I do leave them to the last minute. But I love exams. Exams, guys. Okay. I think what's happened is I have discovered academic validation, and it's great. Yeah, even just like self-validation, like there's something just so satisfying about studying for a test and then like getting good marks. I think I'm just obsessed with it. Like, I have to stop myself going up to the lecturers and be like, can we have a test? Because I know that would not make me very popular. Yeah, but when it comes to assignments, I do struggle, especially knowing that everyone is just using ChatGPT, and nobody has any academic integrity. But anyway, I also chose this course because they told me that I would be able to bring my dog to class. Okay, in the interview, I was like, oh yeah, I heard about these courses, these animal courses that you can bring your dog to class. Is that true? And they're like, yeah, some people bring their dogs to class. Yeah, I was like, cool. On the orientation day, any questions? I'd put up my hand. Can we bring our dog to class? They're like, well, yeah, under special circumstances, occasionally, and you have to like email 5 days in advance. And I'm like, so no, then I want to take my dog to class every day. So I can't, yeah. So that's been difficult because I think I do have a bit of a codependent relationship with my dog. At first I was like going home at lunchtime, but it just wasn't feasible. So it's okay though. She has gotten used to being on her own. Sometimes going into college is really, really difficult, especially now. It's November, late November. It's absolutely freezing. It's dark when I wake up. But, I grew up thinking, and in my adult life, I had this I had this notion of myself that I was like, I had no discipline, I was like a fuck up or whatever. But in actual fact, I hate being late. I refuse to be late for college. I hate missing college. That being said, it's very difficult sometimes, but it's rewarding. Like, I am always happy that I pushed myself to go in. Like, I'm never like, oh, I should have stayed in bed, but one day I did stay in bed. I was like, oh, I hated it. It was terrible. I hated how it felt. So yeah, what do I plan to do from here? So I recently discovered, actually, and I didn't know this, that with a level, because what I'm doing now is a level 5, there is a pathway to university with that. And so I am going to apply to I don't want to dox myself, but the university here in my city, to do what everyone has told me is the most useless degree, and I'm gonna do it anyway because it's not useless. Learning is never useless, and it's like the idea of like studying for 3 more years in this like beautiful building with other people who are passionate about learning, I hope. Yeah, I don't see how that could ever be a waste of time. I feel closer to myself than I ever have before. I feel a sense of purpose, a sense of well-being, a sense of contentment, a sense of excitement. A lot of senses, wow. And that's, I don't know, beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.